Call the Village of Johnsburg, February 6th regular meeting of the President and Board of Trustees to order at 7:02. On the roll, Trustee Morse. Here. Trustee Hagan. Here. Clemenstein. Here. Trustee Foreman.
Here.
Falk and Metzger. Here. We stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. From the floor, Kathleen Nickel. You want to stand? Is it what? Pardon me?
Nickel.
Okay. I apologize for mispronouncing your name.
No problem.
Please state your name, your address, and for the record, please.
Yep, my name is Kathleen Winkle. I live 415 Lakeshore Boulevard in Wakanda, and I am a community board member of the Community Sailing School at the State Yacht Club. So I'm a sailing school board member, secretary of the Community Sailing School. So I am basically here to just let you all know what the impact of the State Yacht Club has been to myself and my family, and many of the people that I have been able to serve in the Johnsburg community over the last 12 years. So I'm, excuse me, I am not just here as a long-standing volunteer in the Johnsburg community, but I am here as someone whose life and that of my family has been profoundly impacted by the presence and the activities of the State Yacht Club. Since moving here to Illinois in 1984, the State Yacht Club has been a cornerstone of my life. It was here that I discovered my passion for education. I'm currently a 5th grade teacher in Fox Lake at Stanton School. I initially started coming to Johnsburg as a Sea Scout sailing crew member and then as a sailing instructor at the State Yacht Club. In fact, being a sailing instructor was my summer job for 9 consecutive years until I had my first child in 1998. This initial experience with the State Yacht Club wasn't just about the summer job. It was about building community, fostering teamwork, and developing leadership skills for local youth and for me personally. This club has also deeply influenced my family, my husband, my children, and I have shared invaluable experiences here, from racing a Sea Scout to learning sailing's art and values like safety, responsibility, and environmental stewardship. The State Yacht Club is integral to our family story. In 2013, when PYC faced challenging times, I was part of a group that strived to keep the club's legacy alive. We established a separate nonprofit organization called the Community Sailing School at Stakey, an endeavor that has since been a beacon of opportunity for both the residents of Johnsburg and the broader Chain Lakes region. I volunteered for this initiative because the focus wasn't just about teaching sailing. The initiative was focused on fostering independence, leadership, and a sense of community among the youth of this area. My 3 children all wound up becoming volunteers and then instructors for the Community Sailing School, and they are a testament to the transformative power of this program. I have personally seen Community Sailing School at the State act as a catalyst for change, transforming many children who joined as typical or even struggling 10-year-olds into individuals possessing strong leadership skills and unwavering integrity. The impact of PYC extends beyond individual stories like mine. It's been a nurturing ground for generations, instilling life skills and creating a safe and inclusive space for families and for children. It has been in existence since 1897, long before Johnsburg was even a village, and the possibility of the State Yacht Club ceasing to operate due to the current legal dispute over a variance from 1970 would not just be a loss of a recreational facility. It signifies the loss of a vital community resource that has shaped many lives, fostered a sense of belonging, and contributed to the social fabric of the Johnsburg village. The State Yacht Club cannot continue to be a yacht club like it has since 1987 without boats and boat trailers. The Community Sailing School cannot exist without the State Yacht Club. I urge you to consider the profound impact that the State Yacht Club has had on our local community. It's more than just a club and a school. It's a place where children grow into responsible adults, where families bond, and where the community comes together. The loss of PYC would leave a void that cannot easily be filled. I respectfully request that the village council reconsiders the zoning dispute with PYC in light of the invaluable contributions it's made to our community, and let us work together to find a solution that preserves the vital institution for the benefit of current and future generations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Dwayne Peterson.
My name is Dwayne Peterson. I live in McHenry, 608 Farmers Edge. And I'm here as a member of Mistake Yacht Club. I've only been a member there for 2 years. And normally I wouldn't even be here in the state because I have a home in Steamboat, Colorado. I am also a professional ski instructor on the National Ski Patrol and have been since I was 16 years old. I was born and raised on Lake Geneva. I've been a member of the yacht club there since I was a kid. My grandparents all own homes up there. I have relatives and so forth that have also been in the sailing and so forth. The thing that I'm really stymied about is I came home only for one reason only at this time, is my best man at my wedding passed away. The next morning I get a summons that I have to appear in court, which doesn't make any sense to me. All I am is a member, not very active, but I'm a member of the club. I like sailing and so forth. I've been sailing all my life. Never had a problem with the grounds and everything else. I couldn't even tell you until I shortly read that 40-page summons that I received, and I still don't make heads or tails of how I got involved and only 5 other people when there's more than one member of this club. And the club goes back to 1897. It's a nonprofit organization, just like I'm a member of the McHenry Gun Club, which is a non-profit organization. And we've had, off and on little problems over there. Well, we understand that with the number 2 amendment. But that's besides the point. What I'm looking at is how did I get involved in a lawsuit with Johnsburg by parking a boat, which I paid my membership to, and I paid my rights to park my boat, like everybody else in the club, on empty land, basically. It's a lot. And to come home to and to face jurisdictions on fines that I could receive. Never got a letter from the village here whatsoever to my address. Never been a certified letter saying, hey, I have to move it. Nothing was brought to the attention from the club. And here I'm not, like I said, I'm not a real active member, but on the other hand, I want to be, but I'm still teaching. I'm still a coach. In fact, my school closes at the end of this year. I'm hopefully want to be the head coach over here at Johnsburg High School. Now I'm thinking twice about it, because why should I, if I'm getting a lawsuit for parking a boat on an empty lot, which I'm a member of? So how this all drawn out, I'm still stymied. It's only been a week that I've been back, and I still don't know. I had to consult an attorney. Now this is going to cost me money. Where do I get reimbursed for something that a club has been in existing all these years, plus the property has been basically donated to the club? We pay our taxes on it, I'm sure, otherwise you would have owned it by now on back taxes, the village would have, or at least the county. So I don't know what's going on here, but on the other hand, I'm here to express my views that I think this is really silly to put out individual, and there's only 5 of us that was put onto this summons, and all we did was park our damn boats there. That's crazy. So where this is going, I have no idea. You guys know more than I do, and I'm just sitting here kind of on a PO basis saying, hey, what is this village going to be? I was a trap boy over here when I was, 16 years old. I've been in and out, my family comes in and out here, other families have come all the years, nostalgia. That yacht club has been there. So now you're going after a nonprofit organization for an empty lot? Come on, people, wake up. Smell the coffee. That doesn't make any sense. And then at Sundance Meat, it's going to cost me $200 a day from December 19th to now, or even further. And I have to hire an attorney for parking a boat legally, because it's part of my membership and it's part of my dues. Have no idea. Somewhere along the way, you guys are missing, pardon the pun, the boat, all the way around.
Jeannie Ansler, please. Jeannie Ansler.
Janine Anna, sir.
I apologize, Mrs. Ansler.
No worries. Janine Anna, sir, 5804 North Agatha Lane in McHenry. And I'm here, can I approach you guys to show you a couple pictures really quick?
Sure.
This is his twin sister. Special needs, autism, cerebral palsy, on a sailboat last year. What do you see on her face? What do you see on her face? How many kids with special needs get to go sailing? What are the chances? This made her so happy. I'm starting with her. Okay? I'm not saying that was easy, but it happened. We made it happen. Kathleen and I made it happen. Okay? Back about, they were born 8.5 weeks early. They both had 5 surgeries before they were 5. Growing up, he had a very hard time making friends. He barely had any. We couldn't go out because Kaylee wouldn't go out. We couldn't go and do things. There's not many things to do with a child with special needs like that. Good luck trying to find a place. So we get this letter home one day through his social work, because he's been in social work all his life up through high school, saying that they're offering at the Stakey Yacht Club a free sailing day. Mom and me says, "You're not going? Kids water? I don't go for that." But put my fears aside, let them do it. The sailing school has changed this boy's life. From being a whiny kid where he wasn't accepted anywhere, to going to the sailing school where they promote friendship. You have to work together. There is no saying, "No, I don't want to." Yeah? Was he always good at it? No. But he slowly moved up the ranks. Thankfully, we were given the scholarships because I couldn't pay for it. And that's all he talked about night and day. He went on his own and got his boater's license because he knew he wanted to be an instructor one day. So he got off to where he was off the scholarship. It was like half scholarship, half kind of working to see how he would do as a volunteer. Went to full volunteer. From full volunteer, he went and got his instructor license. So now he can instruct kids and give them the opportunity that he was given at the community school. Then they're starting to open up for kids with special needs, to give them something different to do. And as you all saw the face of my daughter, she was happy. Even if we sat in a boat one day during her class and she played with the ropes, tugged the rope, pull it up, push it down, and slowly we eased her out on the water. Now, there are so many kids in McHenry County that have disabilities where they're not accepted. They're just not. Either they have outbursts, or parents can't afford it, or whatever the reason is. Parents won't take them. Parents don't know what's out there. But the community school, I will promote. Because the change in this boy, he wants to be a police officer now. And that's all from him getting the education where he has and being taught the values that's hard to teach at home. You still do, but it's harder when you are at home and have a screaming twin and you can't pay all the attention to him either. So I owe my life to that school, to the sailing school, because of what it has done for him. It has turned him into a man. You know, he wasn't always unwhiney, you know, but he has learned the discipline and working with others and the importance of it, and the most I can say is respect. He respects every elder. He respects every child. And as a parent, I'm guessing that's all you can do, is make sure your kids grow up to be the best they can be for themselves, and it's because of sailing school that he is where he's at today. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Bryson.
My name's Rob Bryson, 28792 West Manitoba Trail in McHenry, and so I'm here to invite you all to go sailing. So I'm a big fan of sailing, and I'm going to talk to you about the impact that's what's been going on, has been happening. But first I want to talk to you, who's seen the back lot? Who's seen the back lot? Okay, and so a couple of key points. We're not operating the back lot any different than we have in the past years, except we're improving. You know, we made a conscientious effort to make things better back there. And I think we have made things better back there, even before all this started. So we were doing it the year before. In the winter, we sat down and said, we still want to make it better. We developed a policy. We sent that with our members. So we're making a concerted effort to make it better. I got a picture of it. I mean, I've showed people this picture. People are like, what is the issue? What is the issue? And I showed one person, they said, well, so Johnsburg wants to use their land some other way. And we said, no, that's our land. And they're like, what? Johnsburg is trying to tell you that you can't use your land that way. And we share that we have a variance for that. So what's the impact? What's the impact that you've had so far? So when the village decided to use the email list, the club email list, and communicate broadly. You know, I think you all know that, because you're all copied on those emails too, so you know that, right? Okay, so when that first email went out, that's when the first vote disappeared. And that's when a member left. Okay, so that's the impact you're having. You're having that impact. Okay, and eventually, we'll get small enough that we won't survive, right? We just won't survive. How many boats do you think are now at Wonder Lake that were at our club? 5. Okay? That's a big number for us. Okay? If we lose the back lot, we'll lose our main fleet. We'll lose our main fleet because the back lot is really supports our main fleet. So that's the impact. That's the impact it's having. But then does it have to be this way? And I came to one of your meetings and I listened to what you're trying to do here. And your mission, you were talking about your website and things. And your view, what you're trying to achieve is exactly the same thing of what we're trying to achieve. So why are we at this point? We shouldn't be at this point. And I'm going to tell you another thing. I belong to other sailing clubs and with other cities. And it was totally different. I'm going to tell you, totally different. The mayor used to meet with us every year and ask us, what can he do for us? And helped us grow. And he wanted us to grow. And that's Nina Nottoway Yacht Club in Nina. And that's where I actually still belong to the Nottoway Yacht Club. At the same time, I belong to both. And so I know it doesn't have to be that way. And you think about boat storage. Okay? Nina Nottoway Yacht Club. All our boats were stored on their land. Their land. That's the difference. Why can't we be like that here? Why can't we be like that here? Welcoming. And so I look and say, I've seen how this thing, I've watched this thing get handled. And I see that you're on the sidelines, and I ask you to get involved in this, because, it's, you look and say, it's being handled by your lawyer, and, he's the key player, right, in this thing, and so I just ask you, as the board members, to get involved in this thing, and let's find a way. And you see how it changes lives? That story they told him, I've watched him teach. I would never know. I would never know. I've watched him teach. He does a great job. So please get involved.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Parkheiser?
Thanks, Ed. I don't know if I give that to you.
No, it's okay.
I'm Tom Kartheiser. In 1995, I bought land in Bay Oaks because I researched school districts and I wanted my kids to be raised in Johnsburg. I was disappointed when I built my house in Bay Oaks in 1997 that Bay Oaks wasn't part of Johnsburg, but my kids attended school at Johnsburg. I coached my daughters in Pigtail League for 10 years. I coached my son in Johnsburg boys baseball for 10 years. I feel like I'm a resident of Johnsburg. I don't have a voting right for the board or the mayor, but I feel like I live in Johnsburg. Most of my taxes go to the school district in Johnsburg. I built my house in '97. In 2002, I found myself as a single parent. I was raising 3 children alone. My children were at risk. Their grandmother committed suicide, their aunt committed suicide, and their uncle was in prison at Vandalia as a crack addict as a result of his family committing suicide. My wife became an alcoholic, and I divorced her, and I raised 3 kids alone. In 2002, my career was taking off at Kemper Insurance, and I showed up at the Pistaki Yacht Club on the first day of summer with my 3 children. And I said, I'd like to have my kids learn how to sail here. And the yacht club volunteer, Catherine Betcher, said, well, we only have 6 kids in the school. I would love to have 9 kids in the school. However, you have to be a member of Pistaki Yacht Club for your kids to learn how to sail here. I tried to negotiate. I said, I'll become a member. What's it going to take? I have to have a place for my kids that's wholesome, and they really want to learn how to sail. Shannon, my second daughter, had tears in her eyes, and that was a moment that changed the lives of 2 of my kids. Catherine Betcher, who was the volunteer director of the yacht club, said, you know what? Rules are made to be broken. I'm going to make an exception. Let's get you to be a yacht club member, but more importantly, let's get your kids into the sailing program. Fast forward. That changed Shannon's life. She went to U of I. She majored in psychology. She has testified before the Colorado Senate and led House of Representatives as a key witness to strengthen gun safety laws in the community of Columbine, where they had one of the first school shootings. Shannon is now a school psychologist, changing lives every day in Durango, Colorado. She also has very significant health issues, and I'm very proud of her. Andy was an extremely at-risk child, and the Pistaki Yacht Club and the Community Sailing School saved his life. And I know that for a fact. I got involved in the yacht club because I made a promise to Catherine that I would get involved in the yacht club. Since I became a member in 2008, so I'm an equity member of the yacht club. That's not where my heart is. My heart is not where there is a private yacht club. 4 members of the Pistaki Yacht Club decided to create a nonprofit school for kids. I didn't want any parent to ever hear again that their kid couldn't have that experience because they weren't a member of a private yacht club. So I partnered with 3 other equity members of the yacht club, and I'm going to share with you who they are. They are Kathleen Winkle, who's here, and she's been a partner of mine. She made her statement earlier since we started the school. Sally Lucky Elkis, who was born on Pistaki Bay, who is 92 years old, who was married to the father of psychopharmacology, Joel Elkis, who has started several schools in her life, including the New College in Sarasota. She's taught at Harvard. She's a very esteemed member of the Johnsburg community. She called me up one day and she said, "You don't know me, I know you, I've researched you. Together, we're going to create a school on the yacht club that I was born and raised at that's going to change kids' lives." I said, "Who the heck is this?" So Sally, Kathleen, and somebody who bleeds Johnsburg colors, Jim Heeman, Captain Jim, the United captain who flew people over the ocean in 747s for his career. The four of us decided to throw our money into the pot and create the community sailing school. Folks, that was 12 years ago. In those 12 years, we have served over 800 children. We have raised over $250,000. We have partnered with the Yacht Club, and I've come to realize and learn, because I just got back from the U.S. Sailing Conference in Savannah last weekend that I paid to attend, not the nonprofit organization, that it's always tough to have a private yacht club and a community sailing school. But we have, over 12 years, somehow navigated a course to create a nonprofit school that impacts kids in Richmond, McHenry, Johnsburg, Fox Lake, Grant District, Wakanda, Libertyville, Barrington, and many places farther away than that. We have, just like Jacob Anniser, who was a scholarship kid, transformed many dozen children's lives. We have never once in 12 years had a serious accident or a serious injury. We are operating on a chain of lakes, and we have power boats flying around Coon Island, past the old Bald Knob, cigarette boats going 70 miles an hour. And we put kids that are 16 and 17 years old in front of power boaters, and we've never once had an accident. Knock on wood, because we're going to have a sailing school this year. But we might not have a sailing school in a couple years, because it's impossible to run a yacht club and a sailing school without having boats and trailers. I want to set the record straight on a couple things, and I appreciate your time. There have been two false statements made, and I'm going to clear them up right now. The first false statement was an anonymous complaint to the village that stated, and we did a Freedom of Information Act, we have the transcript, that stated that the Community Sailing School, which is a nonprofit organization that rents from the Yacht Club, is renting boat storage space in the back lot. That is a false statement. The Community Sailing School does not rent storage space at the Yacht Club. It rents the Yacht Club to run a sailing school. So we'll set the record straight there. Facts will bear that out. Secondly, the ex-Commodore of Pisteki Yacht Club made a statement that was in the newspaper that said that he hoped that this legal action that we're talking about today was not another attempt by the village to take over the Yacht Club. I was in all the meetings with Ed and Claudette, and we were in a good faith discussion, because at that time Pisteki Yacht Club had 5 member families. We were no longer sailing sea scows. We didn't have enough money to pay the $20,000 a year real estate tax bill, and the sailing school had fallen apart. It was done. It was toast. The toilets were falling into the crawl space because the floors were rotted and there was no damn paint on the building. Since 2010, I have led teams to paint that building every year, and it looks a heck of a lot better. We've had just a great amount of support from a few caring people, and out of our own pockets, we put about $100,000 into the building to prevent the toilets from falling into the crawl spaces. And if you've been in there recently, you've seen what we've done to it. But the ex-Commodore of PYC made a statement that said he hopes the village is not trying to take over the yacht club. That's not what happened. He wasn't there. I was there. We had a conversation with the village about the possibility of donating the building because we wanted to see the history of Johnsburg continue. We wanted to see the yacht club continue to sail Sea Scows on Sunday, and we wanted to see the community sailing school continue to transform kids' lives. We took a vote in the yacht club and we decided not to donate it. We decided to make one more try to make it go. We've made it go. But we are facing an existential crisis right now. This yacht club will not be there in 2 to 3 years. If the village wins its lawsuit, well, the yacht club filed a motion for declaratory judgment, so I want to speak correctly, because the village was threatening to fine people to have boats and trailers on the property. Just a couple more quick points, and I appreciate your time. First of all, in 1970, the yacht club acquired the 4 back lots, which happened to be in Claudette's front yard or backyard. The yacht club applied for and received a McHenry County variance to use the property for a number of things. That's in dispute, what was in the variance. But it mentioned parking boats there when we had events. It mentioned building a backgammon court or a swimming pool or a boat storage facility. And as I understand it, I was here in 1970, but I have read the documents. The yacht club did publish a notice in a plain dealer newspaper that said that this was a variance that was being considered by the McHenry County zoning. And the yacht club, as I understand it, gave up their rights to construct or build a residential property on those lots. So there was value given and value received. The yacht club could use those residential lots, not consistent with building a residence, but it could use it for the yacht club. I think the fundamental problem with this whole situation is, in 1897, Sally Lucky Elkis's uncle donated lumber to build the Pisteki Yacht Club. And she's one of the founders of the sailing school. In 1897, that property was not being used as a residence. Fast forward to this day, it's still zoned as a residence. It hasn't operated as a residence since before the turn of the century. That's really the big rub here. The village is saying that the yacht club has to operate as a residence. It hasn't operated like that. And there have been boats and trailers stored in that back lot since 1970 when those lots were acquired by the yacht club. Folks, it is impossible to continue to operate a yacht club without boats and trailers. And I really believe, I also tried to set the record straight at the last zoning and planning meeting, and I was misquoted in the Northwest Herald, so I want to set one more thing, because now I realize, it's pretty easy to be misquoted. I was quoted in the Northwest Herald as saying, the yacht club doesn't own boats. That is a true statement. And the sailing school doesn't own boats. That is a false statement, and I don't think I said it, but it was in the newspaper. I did write a letter to correct that. I haven't seen the correction in the Northwest Herald. The sailing school has a fleet of boats. We can't teach kids how to sail without a fleet of boats. The yacht club would own a pontoon boat because it can't have sailing races out in front of, on Pisteki Bay or Pisteki Lake, out in front of the old Bald Knob without having a power boat to set up the race course. The yacht club doesn't own a boat at this moment because it can't afford one, and one of our members offers his pontoon boat. So, for the record, the yacht club owns no boats today, but you can't really run a yacht club without a boat, a power boat. because you can't set a race course without a power boat. And the sailing school has a fleet of boats, so I want to set that record straight. The last thing I would just ask is, and I'm going to say this, we are going to really try to influence the right thing for the village and the right thing for the yacht club and the right thing for the sailing school. We are going to bring a lot of voices to this. There are hundreds of people that are upset about what's going on here. Hundreds. We have churned out kids who became instructors, who are studying to be neonatal doctors, who are becoming doctors of physical therapy in May, who are nurses, who are firemen, who are leaders in their communities at young ages. And we do it because we do it the right way, and because we're blessed with a great, great community spirit of volunteers. I just hope you all realize what's at stake here. If you can't have boats and you can't have trailers, there won't be a yacht club. If there isn't a yacht club, there isn't a sailing school. I've given 15 years of my life to create this, and I'm doing it for the kids. And I know we all have the same thing. We want to have a great community. You are on the cusp of losing something that's really valuable to this community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'd like to make a short response, as long as we're setting the record straight, okay? First of all, the issue is not against the sailing school or not against the yacht club. I don't think there's a person on this board that has anything against the sailing school or the yacht club. They all want to see it survive, okay? The problem is, basically, and you got to admit it, is that your lots that you're talking about didn't just turn into a boatyard, it turned into a junkyard, okay? We addressed that 15 or so years ago, and we helped clean it up. The village did. We got a scrapper there. It's even, I think, mentioned in the discovery or the court reportings, okay?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and I think my name's mentioned that we even did it, okay? We don't have a problem with the yacht club, the sailing school. My kid went to the sailing school. He's now 42 years old. He's a director on the waterway, and he's an avid boater, okay? The problem is when that lot turned in not a boatyard, but a junkyard. And it was a junkyard when it was approached this time around, okay? We addressed it 12 or 15 years ago, and it got cleaned up. And 12 or 15 years ago, now it's a junkyard, a boatyard. It is improved. But honestly, we sent out all kinds of letters, okay, to try to come to agreement, to reach an agreement for storing boats. We have nothing against the sailing school. As far as I know, the sailing school stores their boats on the lakefront property, not even a boat back lot. But we don't have any problem with the sailing school storing boats there, okay? But we do have a problem with that back lot becoming not a storage area or a boatyard, but basically a junkyard. And that's what we had when this whole thing started. Now I can get every one of you guys and ladies the correspondence that went back and forth. That's why I insisted that it started going to all the social and equity members, because people were telling me that they didn't even know what was going on at the yacht club, you know? So that's why we did it, okay? If you disagree with that, I'm willing to listen, and we listened, okay? But that was the problem, okay?
We agree with that, and we cleaned it up, Ed.
And I know you
It's
did.
cleaned up.
But the problem is with all those letters, that they were insistent of, okay, let's reach an agreement of what is acceptable so it doesn't become a junkyard, okay? And that's what was the problem. They insisted that they need 50 boats. That's not acceptable on an acre of property, okay?
Let me also
So,
address this.
can you address it, Michael, also?
Thank you, Ed.
Every,
No, thank you. Thank you all for,
each meeting, there's a parade of people maintaining that the yacht club is in compliance with this McHenry County variance. Now, leaving aside the issue, and this is an issue in the case, but there was never a notice in the paper. There was never a notice to the adjacent property owners for which they had the addresses, advising anybody that there will be a request going before McHenry County Zoning Board for storage. Not one. And if you look at the McHenry County zoning ordinance at the time, there was one place for storage, for outside storage. It was a special use in the context of gravel pits, because it's a commercial use. Secondly, I'm disappointed residents or people in the community were not told by the yacht club attorney about this issue. But keep in mind, when that attorney reached out to the village and asked, what can he do to address the situation? The village staff asked, before the litigation, please certify to the village that the use of the area is in compliance with the McHenry County variance that keeps being held up to us, leaving aside the notice issues and the lack of due process to the village and the neighbors, that storage was going to be sought. Zero response. Now, I can listen to everyone maintain that there's compliance with the variance. But when the yacht club attorney can't attest to that, I think it's reasonable for the village to make an inference. And I think it's only one inference.
We can hardly hear you. At least I can't hear you.
I think it's a reasonable inference that can be made by the village when the yacht club attorney can't certify that the club is in accordance with the variance.
Okay, can I respond to that just
No,
real quick?
no. This is what happened.
Okay, well, you...
Okay, there's not two sides to this. Well, he did respond. Well, he did respond.
But you don't want to
So-
hear a response, is that
So
correct?
here's my thought.
Is that all right? So you don't want to hear a response?
No, I'd like to finish my thought. You had a chance to speak, correct?
Correct.
Okay, let me speak.
Okay, I'm listening.
Everyone keeps saying that they're in compliance with the variance. But when the village asked the yacht club attorney, that has not been forthcoming. Vinny, when was that letter sent out?
Oh, sorry, you mean put on the record there.
Sorry,
That's,
roughly. Is there an estimate?
I would probably say anywhere between 3 and 4 months ago. I can follow up with the exact date where I said, can you please comply, attorney, at which time I received no response after multiple attempts on email and a phone conversation.
So, that silence speaks volumes. You can smile, you can shake your
We've been
head.
in dialogue for months.
You can smile and you can shake your head, but that says something, does it not?
Yes,
It says something to the court.
can I respond to that?
That's up to the chairman of this meeting, President.
as long as you keep it short, okay?
No,
We're not going to go with
I'm
the
just gonna say
facts
that-
of that, you
As
know.
part of
We
the-
can give you the whole packet of letters that were sent
I know
out
the
since
whole packet of
April,
letters.
and I think you have them, correct?
We do.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I know.
and if
All
you're
I'm gonna
going to
say-
try to say that
all I'm
there's
gonna say
nobody
is-
on this board that doesn't support the yacht club, that doesn't support the sailing school. There's not one person I bet up here that would say they wouldn't be supportive of it, okay? We tried through all those letters to come to an agreement. We put them out there how many times, and, you know, why it didn't happen, I don't know. We didn't want to do this, we wanted an agreement, okay? And if you think we like going to court, no. We go to court only when people don't want to cooperate. So go ahead, we'll give you
Thank
some.
you.
We were summoned to
I
court.
was
We were
gonna
summoned.
We
say-
didn't initiate the suit.
Right, we didn't
So,
initiate.
to be clear,
Right, thank you.
Despite the yacht club attorney not being able to represent to the village that the yacht club was in conformance with the variance resolution, the purported one, we were summoned to court.
After you threatened to fine all the members like this gentleman here.
We were the ones brought to court. And yet we sit here 4 months later with the yacht club attorney unable to represent to the village and certify that the lot in question is in accordance with the resolution, leaving aside its defects. Again, everyone can tell us otherwise, but
Okay,
that says something.
Can I now respond?
That's-
Okay, in disclosure, there is an answer to that question, so you can read it in disclosure. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I don't even know what that means.
Well,
What does that mean? There's an answer in disclosure.
Okay, you asked for disclosure in the court case. In the court case, that
Disclosure
was
of
one of
what?
the questions, and it has been answered in the document, and you can read that, and the board can all the board can read
Listen,
it.
we didn't get it in accordance with the court order at the time. The judge ordered this weeks ago. We complied with it. The yacht club did not. So what's the answer as to why the attorney didn't respond and provide that to us?
And I'm going to tell you that there is an answer for that in the disclosures. You can go read it. Okay?
That says
Can you
something.
tell us?
Right.
What?
Can you tell us?
It's a secret.
This is not a mystery. You're talking in riddles.
Our lawyers said it wasn't required. So now the two lawyers can go back and forth on why it's not required.
Do you mean by disclosure discovery?
Discovery, I meant, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not a lawyer, so I just know that.
I got it.
I just know it's in discovery, I just know that our lawyer, I read it, and it just said
I
it wasn't required, it wasn't.
Believe me, I understand.
It wasn't a required request, or what, so anyway, those guys can go back and forth, right? I mean, the lawyers are gonna do that, I mean, that's what lawyers do.
Well,
Can I just
unfortunately,
suggest
it
one
shouldn't
thing?
have to get to that
Right.
point.
Can I
Okay?
just
Because
suggest one
everybody
thing?
here
I agree.
is in support of the sailing school. Everybody
Yes, we
here
are.
is in support of the yacht club.
Well,
It's not going to be there.
It went to that point because of
Get a
the
better lawyer.
junkyard, basically. If that didn't turn into a junkyard with boats stored out there that didn't move in 5 years, don't argue that. They
They're not
were
there.
there.
They're gone.
Mildewy, and they're gone. And I commend everybody, and I stated it in a letter, that it happened and it was gone.
But the conditions
Okay?
that you propose now will not allow us to
Right,
survive.
you've said that there can be no boats there unless they're owned by the yacht club and the sailing school. The yacht club doesn't own boats, the members of the yacht club own
I
boats.
So-
understand that, Tom,
No,
but
now we're getting into this now. Here's
Can
the
I just
thing.
say one thing real quickly, please?
Sure.
And I'll be quiet, this is the last.
No,
comment.
it's not a question. I just can't finish
No.
a sentence. I don't get to finish a
Please do.
sentence.
Please do.
Here's my thought. When the yacht club brought a motion against the village in the litigation, and the judge heard the two motions on the day in question, and he ruled against the yacht club on both, because there was no basis for the motions brought by the yacht club. Were you there?
I was there.
I was there.
Right.
So
Was there
the
any
first-
basis
first
for the
motion-
motions?
The first motion was, they asked.
And what was the result of that?
The inspection, they said, they granted it. You said, we don't think inspection is necessary, he granted it. The second motion, which was what he asked for, was to put any fines aside, and he said, I can't do that because there hasn't been any fines yet.
Exactly.
So,
Right? So he put the motion aside because he can't.
he didn't
rule
put
on
it
something.
aside, he turned it down.
He turned it down because there was nothing to rule on.
There was
That's
no
what he said.
basis. That wasn't the case.
Yeah, that's what he said. Now there's a reason. to
Here's my
rule.
thought.
okay, wait a minute.
I'm the reason.
Come on, order
there's
here.
500 people.
Let one person talk,
Yeah.
and we're gonna get done with this and move on.
My thought
okay?
is, after the yacht club lost both motions, they were not put aside, they were not tabled, correct?
I don't, you're the lawyer.
Well, you were there, and the judge spoke
I
English.
don't know all the terms and things like that. I
So,
know that you got to do the
I
inspection.
invited the yacht club attorney, after the yacht club lost both motions, because they had no basis. I invited the yacht club attorney to say, listen, do you want to reconsider and maybe make a proposal? In a spirit of compromise. And what have we gotten? And that was in front of everybody sitting there in the front row.
I didn't hear it.
I was there,
Zero.
I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear it either.
Zero. Then
I was
ask
there.
your
And I'll
attorney and
be there
ask if I
Friday.
said it.
But Michael, I just want to say one comment, please, and Ed, please listen.
Without any merit.
We're
We
listening,
would
Tom.
love to find a win-win for the village, for the sailing school, and the yacht club. And going down the legal path was never the choice of the sailing school or the yacht club. It wasn't. And Ed, all along, your letters all said, are you going to file a motion for declaratory judgment?
That's because all my letters, Tom, and you know them, you got them all, we were proposing a compromise all the time. Can we put up a screen, please? Can we make sure, all that I was trying to do is ensure
Right.
that we weren't back 15 years ago with the junkyard in 10 years. I don't want to have the future board or the future anybody have to address this all the time. We are trying to come up with a permanent compromise. Now, I understand the Commodore will change, the officers will change, we'll all be dead and gone and things will happen. But we want to come up with a permanent solution, a permanent compromise that keeps that looking good for the neighborhood and the neighbors, okay? That's all. I mean,
Majority of yacht club members wanted
and
the
it did
exact
clean
same
up, but we're back where we were 15 years ago.
The yacht club is willing to put, we offered in writing to plant a $5,000 arborvitae screen. We've cleaned it up, and it's just going in the wrong direction.
Okay.
And it's going to end up a lose-lose for the people of this community, for the neighbors who want to have a yacht club there, and for the kids. That's where this is going.
Okay.
So why don't we find a way to solve it by meeting at the negotiating table? The majority of yacht club members want to solve this with the village in a win-win.
We're all for that, but we're not turning back at this point, okay?
So
We're
can
going
I
to go
propose
forward.
this?
If you want to put a compromise together and come to me, but, when they started and saying, okay, we insist on 50 boats, you don't put 50 boats on an acre. It just doesn't happen, okay? And you know that's wrong, okay? Where did we start with the 16 boats? Because you combined 4 lots into 1 lot, okay?
This is all in the
So,
correspondence.
anyways, it's all in the correspondence.
We've spent an hour on this, and we've asked one basic question. Why the yacht club attorney can't certify that the yacht club is in conformance with the purported variance. And even here tonight, there's a shrug of the shoulders.
No,
Secondly-
we believe we're in.
Secondly, here's my representation to you.
It's not,
I invited your
Just one
attorney,
at a time, please.
I invited your attorney that if you wanted to reconsider after the 2 motions were turned down, and make no mistake, we have the transcript, there was no setting the motion aside, there was no tabling the motion for another time. They're done, because there was no basis for them. You saw that, you witnessed that, right? So my invitation is this. The village is open to any proposal. It will consider that. I invited that to the attorney in front of everyone at the yacht club who watched the hearings that morning. And you can ask Tyler, you can act confused, you can roll your eyes,
I was there.
Right.
I did, to be honest,
then ask your attorney. But this seems incongruous when you complain about the litigation that you brought against the village, you go to the hearing, you lose 2 motions because they're without any basis whatsoever. 0.
That's your opinion. The judge.
It was the judge's opinion.
No, the
It was
judge-
his decision.
Actually, Michael, the judge says this is a legal matter, we're going to decide it, and he said there is no dispute about the facts, and you said we're going to do discovery, we're going to drag the yacht club through a huge discovery.
Then
So it's the village versus a little nonprofit organization.
That's not what I said.
That's not-
And
what
we have the
happened.
transcript.
You were there.
Okay, let's
You were
stop
there.
right now. We've been on it long enough.
Too long.
We're ready to compromise, you're ready to compromise, but we're not turning back.
Thank you.
Okay? It's going to go through the court system, and we'll go from there. If you want to come forth with something, propose it. We got all those letters out there of everything that we tried to do, okay, to come up with a solution. That's why I said send it to everybody, because it wasn't going to everybody. I was having people from the yacht club tell me, we don't even know what's going on. And that's when I said, email everybody. I just happened to have the email because I'm a social member, okay? So I said, send it to everybody. Nobody on this board wants to hurt the yacht club, hurt the sailing school. We want to help them, okay? But we got to come up with something reasonable. That's all. That's all we're saying.
But Ed,
Yes.
Ed, just one last comment.
Okay.
Because we were at the planning and zoning meeting in this room about 3 weeks ago, and none of the members of the planning and zoning meeting even were aware of this. So it's not just a problem with communicating with members of the yacht club, because there's a couple different constituencies and types of members there. Your own zoning and planning meeting, and Claudette and Michael were here, and you brought a motion, and we talked about it, and they said they don't know anything about this dispute between the yacht club and the Sales School.
Because that, what was, no, wait a minute, Tom, just let's set the record straight again, because you want to do that, okay?
Yeah, I do.
That planning and zoning meeting was nothing to do with the dispute against the yacht club. That was just getting the verbiage consistent with the ordinance. That's all. It had nothing to do with our dispute, nothing at all.
Then why did your attorney contact the yacht club's attorney and tell us that that was being brought before the zoning and planning commission, and why were we here? Why were we here?
We
Because
provided
your
notice.
attorney notified us.
Because we provided notice, and I'll tell you what, unlike the yacht club, in connection with its variance, where it didn't send notice to anybody, we did. That's the difference. Is that clear for the record? You can laugh.
I'm not laughing.
Well, what do you call it then?
What, my
You can
reaction?
laugh.
My reaction?
But the difference
Your
is,
zoning and
we
planning
provided
people did.
notice. 2, just because they don't happen to read the Northwest Herald, the Plan Commissioners, in which the litigation was publicized, that's not their fault. The litigation does not impact the passage of an ordinance. We provided notice. That's the difference here. We provided notice to the yacht club. The yacht club did not when it sought its variance for boat storage. That was the key difference.
It was
We do
published-
things
Michael, it was
differently.
published in the Plain Dealer. We have a copy of
It
it.
doesn't say boat storage. Right. You can keep laughing. You can
It
keep
does.
laughing that people did not get notice of boat storage.
Okay, so anyways,
So
let's stop.
57 years ago, and boats have been there for 57 years, and the yacht club's been there for 135 years, and you're gonna say that the yacht club can't have boats there?
I'm not going to say it. It's going to be
Really?
up to the judge, isn't it?
Well, then you don't get a yacht club in this community, and you don't get a community Sunday school. So, great job.
That's totally, Tom, you're not listening. You're not listening.
But what I heard the most
No,
important...
what you didn't hear is there's nobody here that doesn't support the yacht club and the sailing school.
So let's
Everybody
find a
does.
compromise.
So, I asked for a compromise. You saw the letters from, so we did that.
Can I say the same thing back
Okay,
to
one
you?
thing. Yes, say it.
And I really, and this is this whole thing. I really want you to come and understand how the yacht club operates and why what we're asking for is important. You're telling us we're not listening. I'm going to say the same thing. Please come and listen. Please come and try to understand how the yacht club operates, so that this will make sense to you what we are trying to do, what we are trying to preserve.
I think I do understand it, but,
No, I don't think you do. I honestly don't think
we
you
do.
do.
Okay, now we're getting into...
Okay.
If I thought you did, you would understand the
We'll
impact
leave it
you're having.
with
Okay.
a proposal that the village would consider. Why don't so, after you speak with your attorney and ask if I said that, as I said, we're open to that.
I've seen-
Rather than
I've
waste
seen
time
what
as we
you-
have in
I know
court
where you
with
are.
motions.
You came to the first meeting and said none.
What?
You said no
No,
votes.
no.
Yeah, that,
No,
it was
this is not-
supposed to
we
be
spent an
empty.
hour
You
on
wanted, the June letter said empty the lot by June. The first letter you said empty the lot. I know that, you said that. We've come back to 16 votes. We had 34 when we started.
We're down to 7 now.
Okay.
Yeah, we're down to 7.
Let me get back,
So-
okay,
so
I don't think, if it wasn't, okay,
16
let's
is
wait a
just-
minute. Let's stop right after this, okay?
Yeah.
Everybody here supports you, okay? First thing going, okay?
I wish
If
I
it
felt
wasn't,
that.
no, wait a minute, if it didn't turn into a junkyard, nobody would have ever said nothing. But it did. You admitted that. You admit you had boats there that didn't move for 5 years. You saw the mildew running down the side. That's not fair to anybody that lives around there, okay? Then we tried to come up with a solution. We're here, we're open to a solution. come back with something that's reasonable, okay? And we're here to work with you, okay? So I do understand, I think, how the yacht club works, but, I also understand that, you're storing boats there, power boats there for $150, okay? Everybody takes their boats and they put them in barns and they don't leave them in a field. They store them in boat yards and everything else. The boat yard there became a junkyard, and that's what the problem was. That's it. Let's agree on that, because that's what happened.
I know how many boats were back there.
I'm not talking about how many boats, I'm talking about the junkyard.
And I know how many of them, how many, because that's why we worked on a policy. I mean, I was working on it.
Okay, and we appreciate it. Come back with the policy, come back with the plan, and we'll consider it. We got a lot to do yet.
That's really what we're asking.
Okay, and we're all good with that, okay? Thank you.
Can I make a comment? I'm on the outside looking in, okay? I'm a member of the club, all right? I try to abide by their ordinance and so forth like that as a club member, okay? I went ahead, like I mentioned before, I paid my dues. I stored my boat there. In fact, my boat's it's a brand new boat. And it's only been there since October, okay? Prior to last spring, I had another boat there, but I sold it, kept my membership, came back and paid for the following membership. Now I'm involved in a lawsuit that's going to cost me thousands of dollars the way this thing sounds like, and I'm an innocent bystander. I'm basically in the middle of with the village board and my yacht club. Who do I take side with? Okay, I'm doing what is right here, but you're not doing what's right by me or the 5 other people that has been drawn into this damn lawsuit. I have to appear in court on March 19th. I wasn't even planning on being in this damn state. Now I have to be. For what? A lousy parking a boat that I thought was legal and in behalf of the club, and they think it's legal? I don't get where we're going here. Right now, it's going to cost me thousands of dollars the way it's looking at. You're going to charge me $200 a day since my boat was there or since I was a member? I have no idea where this might go. I, in turn, talked to a friend of mine. His son's an attorney here in McHenry, and he's going to get back to me, and he didn't have time to read 40 pages to find out. So I came here tonight to find out where I stand personally as a member, and plus the possibility of maybe becoming an educator over at your high school. If it's going to draw out of my pocket, I want to know why. Okay? And so far, all I hear is this is this is that. But now I have to come up with to have to hire an attorney because for some stupid reason, the yacht club attorney won't represent myself and the 4 other people that were stated in the statement or the summons. I'm in between.
And he didn't tell you about this issue?
No. Nobody has told me nothing.
Okay, so
He's not alone. There are other people that did not receive Ed's email or the police chief's threat of fining. Other people are affected. I know for a fact.
Thank you, Mr. Piano.
and I feel bad that you're in the middle of it. That's fine, okay? There's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it. All I said is come through with a proposal, and let's make a compromise, and we'll see what we can do.
But 5 people,
You did
summons, not a whole summons of a whole club?
You didn't have to add the third party thing.
The third party?
You made, the village made a choice to do that. I don't know why you made that choice to do that, but the village made a choice to add additional people to.
Okay, we're done.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Let's see if we can get a compromise.
Okay, we're with
That's what we're going to do. Everybody here supports the yacht club and the sailing school, and you know what? If we can compromise, then we'll work on your problem, okay? But let's get there. because that's what we tried to do with the 5 or 6 or how many letters that were sent out to you, was to come up with a compromise, okay? And basically, what were we told? We were told that if we can't have 50 votes, we're not doing nothing. Okay, that's fine.
No,
50's not the number.
We backed down from that number. You know we backed down from that number.
And Ed, there were responses to your letters that said, we'll offer to do this, we offer to do this, we offer to do this.
I read them,
And then that got derailed somehow.
and that got derailed.
It got derailed, and that's where this got.
And I can even show you where the
And I don't
letters,
think it was,
Tom, where the letters, where we were always down to the last day of the last minute, and then the letter came in. Nobody sent a letter. We give 2 weeks, and nobody sent a letter, nobody answered. So don't blame the village, you know? That's on the yacht club. It's on
I
the yacht
think it's
club.
easy to blame the village, but there's a lot of disinformation
I'm just going to tell
at
you
your
why it's so
end.
tough. We're a small organization. We're spread out all over the place. You know, so.
But there's a lot of swirling misrepresentation of this. And you guys are making us out as the bad guys. And I don't think that's right or just. Especially if we're going to try to work together on this.
I think both parties
I'll be
can do
done
better
talking.
and find a win-win.
Well, I think we've been, my opinion, very outgoing to try to reach a solution.
Okay.
And so if you want to, let's do it.
Okay,
Let's
can I
put
just
it right there, but
Beth-
we're not starting over right now.
The
We're going to
reason I
go
think the
forward,
bad guy
and if we can reach a solution, we'll solve the problems,
Okay,
okay?
I guess it answers
That's because
the
everybody
bad-
here is in support of the
Can I
applicant.
just answer to Beth? The reason I think they have the bad thing image, the first move was a threat of fines. The first move from the village
Was the threat of what?
a threat of fines. The first move from the village was a threat of fines. And so that really
But
started.
that's not atypical
That's not
when
true.
you're out of.
The threat of
funding.
fines came long after letters.
It's just, and that's
Long
why,
after letters.
I think
Guys,
this
this has to
is
cease.
willing.
this has to cease.
So, okay, we're
What's
done.
being told is
Yeah,
objectively
okay.
untrue.
Thank you for your time.
No, thank you.
Appreciate it. I really do.
All I know is that it costs me a lot of money.
And I feel bad for him and for everyone actually.
It's ridiculous.
Okay,
And, yeah, so anyway, we'll have to figure out how to move forward.
Thank you for your time.
no, thank you. No, thank
We'll
you.
get out of here soon, yes.
And let's see what we can solve, Tom. That's where we're at, you know? We want to solve it, you want to solve it, let's reach a compromise. Okay? So,
Thanks again.
no, thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, public comments are limited to 5 minutes. We got a little carried away there, but that's okay. We're glad to hear from
Water break.
everybody. Okay, can we have a motion to do the omnibus agenda, please?
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion by trustee Foreman, seconded by trustee Morris. Anything that anybody would like pulled?
I have a question. Can we just pull on the social worker? I just want to dig on something.
Okay, what would you like to pull?
Social work.
The social worker.
Okay, social worker, yep.
Third one down.
Yep.
You guys are going to have to find a better chairman.
Okay, we're pulling the move to approve intergovernmental agreement between the county and the county village of Johnsburg for police social worker. Right? Anything else anybody would like pulled? If there being none on the roll, trustee Morris. Trustee Hagan.
Aye.
Trustee Klumstein. Trustee Foreman.
Aye.
Trustee Falk.
Aye.
And
Aye.
trustee Letzker. Motion carried. Now, could we entertain a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement between the county of McHenry and the village of Johnsburg for the police social worker? Motion? Let's have a motion and second for discussion. Motion?
I'll take a second.
Okay, motion by trustee Letzker, seconded by trustee Klumstein. Discussion on the motion. Scotty?
I was looking at this, reading this. We had that incident early December, Claremont. Units, all kinds of armored vehicles there and everything. Was something in that issue or in that range, how much do you think this would have helped that situation that you had a couple months ago?
Unfortunately, with that situation escalated quickly. It escalated within roughly 7 hours. We had an initial call at that residence in which we learned that there was a subject potentially in crisis. A referral was planned to be made to a social worker, but the situation escalated that evening before that was even an option, and then turned into a barricaded subject. We utilized negotiators from the SWAT team as well as one of our own officers who was trained in negotiations with people in crisis. Unfortunately, they reached a peaceful resolution, and we did have the police social worker working with family members after the fact in triage after the incident was resolved. But yes, if we would have been aware of the person's state with enough notice, yes, we would have, that referral would have gone through to our social worker, and hopefully we would have been able to prevent that from getting to that stage. The unfortunate reality is we were not apprised of that until it kind of really went off the rails, so to speak.
And we share this person?
We
He
share
or
the
she,
person,
whatever it may be.
they're contracted through the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office employs, I believe, 5 social workers. We share our current social worker, Gina Clisari, is shared with Richmond, Spring Grove, Wonder Lake, and ourselves, and I think McCollum Lake as well. She is usually here at least 1 to 1.5 days a week, but she is available throughout the week. And we have access to the other 4 social workers in her absence if she is tied up. It's kind of a contracted situation where we're still able to get someone. We have encountered another situation, not quite as escalated, thank God, but we had another situation into which we were able to make contact with a social worker after hours, and they were willing to come out or to work with us either through the phone or internet for a counseling session with the person, and we were able to resolve that relatively quickly.
So in your opinion, this is a good tool to have on your end? And
I was not on board with this program when it initially it surfaced. But yes, my experience in working with Gina, our social worker that's been assigned to us, as well as some of the others, yes, I think there's significant value in the program. Being able to help folks. I know the school district has benefited significantly from it, as she's able to kind of fill in the gaps for the social workers that are employed by the school district. She's able to fill in the gaps outside of school. So I've seen some significant benefits to the program, and it's made me a believer, so to speak.
that's good to hear. That's all I had.
Okay, anybody else? Any further discussion on it? No. With that being said, Trustee Morse? Aye. Trustee Hagan?
Aye.
Trustee Crumpson?
Aye.
Trustee Foreman?
Aye.
Trustee Falk?
Aye.
And Trustee
Aye.
Metzger. Motion carried. We're going to go right to the public hearing of the Comcast. I don't think anybody's got any new business, do you? Oh, Vinnie, sorry.
Not new business. I believe that Agaton family's here, was just here for the motion on the liquor license, so I don't know if they know the process on a board meeting. If you want them to stick around for the rest of the meeting, under the liquor license.
We approved the liquor license.
It was approved already under omnibus. You're all ready to go. Okay, sorry about that. Sorry we put you through all this agony. Okay?
So you're welcome to stay.
Sometimes you stay more if you want, but you're usually it's a little quieter, but sometimes it gets this way. So, but thank you. Yep, you're all good. Okay, and you're welcome to stay.
But you can go also.
You can go too.
You're also welcome to go if you like.
So this evening, we've scheduled on the agenda a public hearing on the proposed cable television franchise agreement between the village and Comcast. It does provide for a 5-year term. The franchise fee as proposed would be 5%, which is the maximum allowed by federal law. And the gist of this is trying to get Comcast to adhere through this agreement to our right-of-way ordinance. These agreements used to be much more substantial, much lengthier, but since then, the Illinois legislature has whittled down the area of jurisdiction, such as, among other things, customer standards. That used to be a specific area of negotiation, and no longer is. So that's before the village for consideration. But at this time, is there any comment from the public with respect to the proposed Comcast franchise agreement? Seeing none, I close the hearing and hand it off to the president to take up the next item.
Thank you. Okay, Village Board, move to approve ordinance 23-24-31, authorizing the Village of Johnsburg to enter into a cable television franchise agreement with Comcast of California, Colorado, Illinois, Michigan, LLC. Can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, got a motion by trustee Letzker, seconded.
I'll second it. Mr. Paul. I'll second.
Oh, sorry, Michael. Trustee Paul. Discussion on the motion. Any discussion on the motion?
Is this the same agreement that we've had in place for previous 5 years?
Yes.
And does Comcast have any competition that's worth
Yes. They have AT&T, right? AT&T.
AT&T?
Has some lines.
Uverse,
But they fit-
AT&T Uverse that a lot of people in the village can't get.
Right.
But some people are able to get it, so
Yeah.
if you're lucky enough to be in where AT&T has it, you can get it, you know.
Yeah.
The newer-
I hear more and more people streaming all the time and doing that
Right.
kind of stuff.
It's almost becoming antiquated.
I've never heard anybody say that the Comcast bill is reasonable.
Their service, I think, is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Their service is great, but their
Yeah.
prices are crazy.
Yeah.
But they do have, I think, one of the best
Internet.
services.
Yeah.
I mean, they got the best
They
internet.
have 10G now, don't they?
There's alternatives.
It's expensive.
Go to like Super Cable.
Yeah.
Utility fees.
Yeah.
Can I ask what percent it went up this year, our agreement with them? Is
The franchise fee has not been increased, so
It's 5%.
it's been 5% for some time. I think that's, you may find some municipalities that are lower, such as 3%, but not many. And so this is the maximum ceiling set by law. I
that the
maintain
Commerce
it's,
Commission that does that, or is it?
well,
different
it's
entity?
Congress through the Cable Act.
Okay.
And there's supplemental authority at the state level that, again, has been whittled down by AT&T lobbyists and Comcast.
Just curious.
Any other questions? Any other discussion? With there being none, trustee Letzker? Trustee Falk? Trustee Foreman?
Aye.
Trustee Lemstein? Trustee Hagan?
Aye.
And trustee Morris? Motion carried. Okay. Move to ratify the rejection of bids for the East Side Sewer Extension Project. Tim, do you want to address that a little bit?
Sure. The project, you have an exhibit in your packet. Just a friendly reminder that the grant was for the area in green, was for the regional lift station and force main only. And that was, it's always been consistent with our strategic planning to get the backbone funded, which was always a limiting factor for River Terrace, or the hotel property, or the vacant pieces on each side of Charmbrook. And so we thought by offering or adding in gravity sewer, we could entertain a little bit to open it up to not just a drilling contractor and an excavator. And again, there is so much work out there right now. You saw 8 people attended the mandatory pre-bid and only 3 provided proposals, of which one was just a last-minute Hail Mary for Berger, that if they got it, they would figure out a way to do it because they are so flush with work. And so that is clearly in excess of where we were planning. And so it's our recommendation to reject all 3 bids, and then the next line item covers completing just the lift station and the force main, so that we can utilize the grant money and completely exhaust that. And then when development comes, we can say the sewer is right there. Whereas in all the years past, we used to say the sewer was 500 feet on the other side of the road.
So
So with this proposal, Tim, we basically, all the gravity is gone.
Not this motion is to reject all three bids.
Right, but I'm saying
That's where we start with this motion.
Okay.
We reject all three bids, and the next one, we'll go with that.
Okay.
So can we have a motion and a second?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion by trustee Hagan and seconded by trustee Lutzker. Any more discussion on the motion or questions for Tim? I think we all know where we're going with this, right? Okay. Trustee Lutzker?
Aye.
Trustee Falk? Trustee Foreman? Trustee Klimstein? Trustee Hagan? And trustee Morris. Motion carried. Okay. Now, we'll entertain a motion to move to waive the bidding for the East Side Sewer Extension Project.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Foreman.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Falk. Discussion on the motion.
So all the gravity is gone.
This is a motion just to waive the bidding process. Your question will be really good at the next item.
So does everyone understand on the board the process here with the 3 steps?
Yes.
Okay. Trustee was just being sarcastic.
No, I wouldn't do that, Michael, you know that.
Okay. Okay, on the roll, trustee Lutzker. Aye. Trustee Falk. Trustee Foreman.
Aye.
Trustee Klimstein. Aye. Trustee Hagan. And trustee Morris. Aye. Motion carried. Okay, now, move to accept proposal from Joel Kennedy Construction for the modified East Side Sewer Extension Project. We have a motion. Motion by trustee Falk. Seconded?
I'll second.
Trustee Hagan. Discussion on the motion. Trustee Lutzker.
I have no further questions.
You forgot the question here.
Rewind the tape.
Can that be added later? Maybe?
At this time, it was, in our professional opinion, it was $400,000 more than the grant, $400,000 where we could use it somewhere else on other capital. And if and when development occurs, as like we've done everywhere else, development will pay for the infrastructure. And so we did evaluate, as long as we're putting the force main in, Brand described it, it just continually goes up. And so in order to stay within a reasonable amount of the grant money and the investment the village is willing to make, that's our recommendation, is to, we're going to do the lift station complete, the force main complete, and then we're going to come out with one manhole so that the developer doesn't get near our lift station for future. But with that manhole, it is ready to go down River Terrace, down Linden, or go down Linden towards Chapel Hill Road, and go underneath to serve the hotel. And the design has been done, it's all permitted to go under Chapel Hill Road, to go down all the way to the end of the vacant piece, almost to Bay Road. So what we're going to offer in the future is, here's the sewer plans, here's the permits, here's everything, developer. However they want to develop, whichever one goes first. So that to me is an incentive to offer future development that we didn't have available.
Tim and I take it you've had discussion with Kennedy?
Yes. Yes, I have extensive multiple meetings, trying to make sure that it's a complete number that they do. And again, if we waive the bids, or if we reject that bid, and we think we're going to go out later in another month or two, it's only going to get more expensive. There is so much work at MWRD, at IDOT, at the tollway. Municipalities are borrowing bond money like we're thinking of doing. They're doing water, lead replacement. They're doing sewer main extension, sewer lining, manhole. I mean, road programs. It's an incredible amount of work, so the contractors can pick and choose what's in their wheelhouse to be successful. And you see that with only 3 bidders out of 8 that took it. And as a matter of fact, we extended the bid date because there were so many other bid openings when we initially had our bid. In order, they asked for the breathing room, we gave it to them because we wanted bids.
Okay.
Thank you.
Answer everybody's questions?
Yep. Okay.
With there being none further discussion, Trustee Morris. Trustee Hagan.
Aye.
Trustee Klumstein. Trustee Horn. Trustee Falk. And Trustee West.
Aye.
Motion carried. We'll entertain a motion to adjourn the village board meeting to start the next meeting.
I'll motion.
We'll make a motion for Trustee Falk.
I'll second.
Seconded by Trustee Foreman. Any discussion on the motion to adjourn? With there being none, Trustee Morris, Trustee Hagan, Trustee Klumstein, Trustee
Aye.
Foreman, Trustee Falk,
Aye.
Trustee
Aye.
Lutzker. Motion carried.
We do pledge allegiance to.
What?
Pledge allegiance for the third meeting tonight. All right. Sorry, I'll stop.
Just to stand.
Stand up. Let's stand up. Let's stretch.
Does anybody want to take a break before we